Hi boys, today we're going to make banana bread. This is a really easy recipe and it is so delicious. It's going to take you about 15 minutes prep time to get all the ingredients assembled and put together, and then you're going to have to bake it for another 55 minutes to an hour. So let's get started and talk about the ingredients. You're going to need white all-purpose flour. You're also going to need white sugar. You're going to need baking soda and baking powder, ground nutmeg, salt, shortening, 2 eggs, not much milk, just a dab, and then you're going to need 4 really ripe bananas. You want to make sure they're really brown and look like something that you would not want to put on your cereal, very brown. The reason why we're going to do that is because that's when the banana actually goes ahead and has the most flavor to it, has the most sugar to it, and that's what's really going to give your banana bread such a wonderful taste. So let's talk about the tools that you'll need. I have a stand mixer, but you can use a hand mixer. You're also going to need your measuring cups and your measuring spoons. You're going to need a spatula, a table knife, and I have a pastry cutter. This just helps me chop up my bananas better. You're also going to need 3 mixing bowls, and then you're going to need your bread pan. So what I want you to do is go ahead and set your oven to 350, gather all of your tools and ingredients, and then we can get started. Okay, so we're going to get started with our dry ingredients. The first thing I want you to do is into the medium-sized bowl, add 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, and then I want you to get your baking powder, and you're going to add 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder. So there's my 1 teaspoon measure, my 1/4 of a teaspoon measure, and there's 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder, and then you're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And we've talked about in the past the big difference between baking soda and baking powder. Don't get the two of them confused. Okay, so there's the 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and then we're going to add 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So that's that. And then just go ahead and stir that in together really good. All right, and then to the larger bowl, I want you to go ahead and add 2/3 cups of the white sugar and 1/3 cup of the shortening, and then we're going to beat that together. A small correction, you're going to add to your larger bowl the 2/3 cups of white sugar and then 1/2 cup of the shortening. Go ahead and mix that together really well with your hand mixer or your stand mixer, and then I want you to add your eggs one at a time into there. So add 1 egg, mix it really well, and then add the next egg. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so in my large bowl, I've added my sugar, my shortening, and my 2 eggs one at a time, and I've mixed those in. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my milk, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of milk to this mixture. So here is 1 and 2. All right, now it's time to go ahead and move on to the bananas. So I want you to get your bananas out and slice them one at a time into this bowl, and then using a fork or a pastry cutter, what do you have, mash those really well. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so while I finish mashing my bananas into the 3rd bowl, I'm going to give you a really helpful tip. If you have bananas that aren't really that ripe, you can go ahead and put them on a cookie sheet and put them in your oven at 350 for 15 minutes. Pull them out, let them cool. You can peel them and go ahead and mash them, and they're going to be just perfect. Okay, so by now I should have 3 bowls. I have 1 bowl that has my bananas, I have 1 bowl that has my dry ingredients, and then my 3rd bowl is a bowl that has the wet ingredients. Really quick, what I'm going to do to my dry ingredients, I'm going to add my secret ingredient. Get your ground nutmeg and add a teaspoon of that to the flour and mix that in. Okay, so now we're ready to combine. What we're going to do is we're going to alternately combine the flour and the banana into the wet mixture. So add just part of the flour mixture, stir that in, then add part of the banana mixture, stir that in. Do that, alternate back and forth until everything is mixed. Okay, so I finished adding the banana and the flour mixture alternately into my wet ingredients. I've stirred it with my spatula in between each ones, and this is what your batter should look like. It's going to have a little bit of lumps in there from the banana, and that's fine. Then what I want you to do is the paper that you had from the shortening, the side that still has a little bit of shortening on there, use that to go ahead and coat the inside of your bread pan. And what that's going to do is to help keep your bread from sticking. So I've done that, and now the inside is all coated. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold the banana mixture into my pan. And let me show you what that looks like. There you go. You want to make sure that it's not too full. If it's more than halfway full, you might not want to add all of your batter because what will happen is your bread will rise too much. It'll kind of overflow. So go ahead and add that, and then I want you to pop it in your oven that you've already preheated at 350, and I want you to bake that for 55 minutes. At 55 minutes, we're going to check and see how it looks. Now, halfway through, if you don't have a convection oven, what you do is turn your baking pan 1/2 rotation, and that will help it bake evenly. So go ahead and do that. We'll come back in 55 minutes and let's see how our banana bread looks. My timer's gone off, so let's take a look at my banana bread. See how that's nice and golden brown? It's good to go. Now, to make sure that it's baked all the way through, I've taken a table knife. I'm going to sink that down into the center of my bread. You see how it comes out clean? You don't see any wet batter clinging to it? That means that my banana bread has baked all the way. If you do that and you pull the knife out and you still have some wet batter sticking to it, go ahead and put it back in the oven for another 5 minutes and check it again. Keep doing that until your table knife comes out clean. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to set this on a cooling rack for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes, I'm going to take my table knife, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to work it around so the table knife is between the edge of the pan and the bread, and just loosen that up. Then I'm going to pop it out onto my cooling rack, lay it on its side for about 20 to 30 minutes, then it's cool enough to go ahead and cut and eat. All right, boys, I hope you enjoy this recipe. I think it's wonderful for this time of year. So I love you. Hope you're having a great day. Bye.